Pastor, we got some questions.
I just have time for a few of them. What do you have?
Yeah, how do you think the church's performance has been so far this year?
You know, I think we've been okay. I think we have a nice church here. There's good people here. But, I think if we're just okay with being okay, then we can keep doing what we're doing. But I want to be better than that. I think God has called us to be better than that. I want to be great. And
Pastor.
Yes.
What do you propose? How are we going to become great?
Well, I think if we're going to become great, we got to do some things a little bit different. And so one of the things that's always bothered me is the Sunday school hour. We have people who come to church, they show up on Sunday morning, they sit in the pews, and they go home, probably never to think about or learn anything more about it. I don't know. But perhaps, ask that question again. Hold on.
Okay. How do you expect us to do better?
Man, let me get that up.
We want to stop it?
No, let's just keep rolling. Okay. Ask me your question again. Okay.
Pastor.
Yes.
Pastor.
How do you think the church's performance has been so far this year?
Performance? I mean, we have a nice church. We have a good church. There's a lot of good people here, but I think we should all expect more from our church. I think we should expect more from ourselves. So I hope that we can raise the bar a little bit as a church.
Pastor, what are your plans on how we should raise the bar?
Well, one of the things that really bothers me is our Sunday school hour. I don't think we have a lot of intentional effort on how we're going to grow during that time, and we have a good number of people who show up for that hour, but I think we can get more out of it.
Pastor, if you want there to be more, what do you propose then that is going to change during the Sunday school hour to get that growth?
Well, one of the things that we're going to talk about is GUS groups. It's kind of a funny name, but it stands for Grow in Faith, Unite as a Family, Serve as a Follower of Jesus. And we feel like if we can get the congregation to come together in perhaps smaller groups, that they would have a better opportunity to do those three things. And I think if we can do those three things, the performance as Christians will improve.
Pastor, where did this Grow, Unite, Serve come from?
I have no idea. No, do that again.
Pastor, where did the Grow, Unite, Serve come from?
Well, it's something that we came up with a long time ago. Leaders of the church got together and we talked about kind of the things that we could do best to help the members of the congregation become better Christians in their daily life, better followers of Jesus, and to understand God's grace a little bit better. So we came up with this phrase, grow, unite, serve. It's a simple phrase, that one that we can easily remember that'll help us. Help us.
Pastor, who's going to be in these Grow, Unite, Serve groups?
Well, all the adults. So this will be all the everyone from 18 on up, and just for all the adults.
Pastor, what about the kids?
Well, they'll go to Sunday school as usually, and so they'll do their puppet show and all that stuff.
So, Pastor, okay, so if everyone's going to be in these groups, there's different groups, right?
Yes, we want to create 4 different groups.
Well, how are we going to have them all meeting at the same time? Where are they going to be?
Well, one of the challenges we have in this church, just to be honest, is we don't have a lot of classroom spaces for adults. So that is something that we're going to have to wrestle with. But we'll figure it out. We have enough room. Some adults will just have to get used to meeting in kids' rooms and having kid decorations and things around. But you know what? You can get over it.
Pastor, when are they going to meet?
During the Sunday school hour.
What time is that?
You've been at this church long enough, you don't know what time the Sunday school hour is?
No, I don't. I just come to church. That's it.
Right. Sunday school hour is at 10:45 to 11:45.
No, that's wrong.
Oh, Sunday school hour is from 9:45 to 10:45.
So, when's this going to start? I mean, this sounds like a big deal. Are we going to wait like another 1 or 2 years before we get this off the ground?
Well, we've already waited 1 or 2 years to get this off the ground. We're a church, so which means we move as fast as churches move, which ain't fast at all. So we've waited long enough. The time is to start, and so we really hope to start this at the beginning of the year. So about January 14th, not about actually, exactly January 14th. We want it to be our first time together.
Pastor, how are we assigned to groups, and how do we find out which
Well,
group we're in?
Hopefully you'll receive a phone call if our group leaders do what we've asked them to do, but you'll receive a phone call within the next week or two.
So how are we going to find out who's in what group? Or no, I'm sorry, let's skip that one. How are you guys deciding who's in which group? Is it random? Are you just drawing names out of a hat?
Well, we're trying to. This first time around, we want it to be successful, so we're trying to put people in the groups that we feel like they would have the most commonality in life, and so we put groups together based on their children, their children's age, and so forth like that. How many children and on.
Pastor.
You have a lot of questions.
I do. What are we going to do in GUS groups? What's going to happen?
Well, it's Grow, Unite, Serve. So people think of Sunday school hour as just an hour for a Bible study, and it's going to be more than that. We want these groups to do more than just learning, but we want them to live their Christian life together. So that may look like doing service projects together outside of the GUS group time, and taking time to interact with each other, pray for each other, and do more beyond just a Bible study.
What if I don't like the people in my GUS group?
You need to check yourself.
When they meet, when they get together, what are the kinds of things they're going to be talking about then? I know you say Grow, Unite, Serve. What kind of topics are they going to be hitting? Do they just pick whatever they want?
No, well, we want all the churches or all the groups to study the same thing. We are still one church, so it's not trying to create 4 different churches here. So if we can get everybody studying the same thing, that would be ideal, and so that's what we're going to strive to do. Topics, I mean, it'll range. Every so often we'll switch it up. So some people might like one heavier Bible study. Some people might like more practical stuff, and you'll have to maybe push through some of the stuff you don't like, and eventually we'll get to something you do, I promise. But it's all good. I think we all have room to grow. We all have room to learn a little bit more, and we all have room to learn in different ways. So if we start, with the attitude that we're here to learn and do better and growing, then I think we'll be all right.
Pastor, how involved do people have to be in their GUS group?
Well, I hope they're involved. Look, if you want to come to church and you want to actually grow in your Christian faith, then you want to get involved in the GUS groups. It's the one thing that we're going to do that's going to help people grow in their discipleship the most. So I guess if you want to continue to skip it and not go to Sunday school and just go to church and go home, that's fine. That's fine. You certainly won't be upset about that. But if you want to grow in your faith, I would encourage you to be part of these groups. And as you're part of it, maybe you don't want to say a whole lot the first time, but hopefully they're created in a way that will help people engage and get to know each other better. That's part of the Unite, the Grow, Unite as a family, that we would have an opportunity to get to know the people that you go to church with.
What kinds of things might they do outside the GUS group then? You mentioned that's some commitment right there. I want to know a little bit more about what people are getting into there.
Well, okay, so we have those community outreach mission entities that we're part of as a congregation. So that would be Lubbock Impact, that would be Upbring, social services, that would be, we do a mission trip to New Mexico, we go to sponsor a church and a school in Uganda, and those are great things, but we're not limited to those things. And so if a group has a special affinity towards another organization or another project, or perhaps it's just a single individual person, I think that opens us up to a lot of opportunities. It could be things within the church that they can help with, meals and so forth, or outside the church, partnering with the school. We have a school that could use a lot of help from the congregation. And so there's a lot of opportunities that you can do. So you tell me what we have an opportunity to do.
Pastor, what do you expect this to do for the church and for the congregation?
Well, I hope it makes us better Christians. I hope it makes us a more faithful congregation to what God has called us to be. And we have a lot of opportunities here at Hope and in Lubbock, and I hope it gives us a chance to mature in our faith, and I hope that maturing in our faith is a maturation that produces fruit beyond ourselves.
So how long do these GUS groups go on for? How long are we expecting to be in the same group? Is it just forever?
Well, we hope that this becomes a norm for us and our life as part of the church. But no, we'll take times probably at the beginning of the fall every year. We'll take time to kind of rethink how the groups are formed, reshuffle the groups, move people around a little bit, put them in a position to meet new people and experience a new experience. Maybe we can ask some of them again and again. I don't know. Maybe we can take the best of multiple answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be more sarcastic. Sometimes I don't have the grumpiness. I wanted some good one-liners. I don't feel like I got a lot of one-liners.
Zing us back at all.
I want to zing you back.
So Pastor, I've got a question for you. Some of the folks, we kind of like to sit back during Bible study and, not nap or anything like that, but we're sitting back a little bit. Do you really expect us to talk during these groups then?
Only if you want to get something out of it, or if you want to participate, or if you want to include yourself or help other people get something out of it. But if you don't want to talk, you don't have to. They're not designed where every person has to share something. But I would encourage you to challenge yourself maybe.
Pastor, are these groups going to be small enough to where it's me and 3 other people sitting around looking at each other?
Only if the congregation doesn't respond and doesn't show up, but hopefully that's not going to be the case. If everybody comes as they're supposed to, and everybody does what they're called to do here, we should have about 20 or so people per group, 20 all the way up to 40.
So Pastor, I got a question for you. Where are these groups going to get together? Because I don't know if I want to be sitting there in the baby room smelling the dirty diapers.
Yeah, nobody does. I get enough of that at home. Yeah, that's one of the challenges we have here at the church. We don't have just a whole lot of adult classrooms. It's an ongoing challenge we have. But you know what? If everybody comes with the right heart, the right attitude, the right spirit, we'll try to find the rooms that don't smell like dirty diapers, and we'll make it work.
Pastor, what if we have somebody that's visiting? How do they get into a GUS group?
That's one of the great things I love about the GUS groups is because right now, if somebody's visiting, they have one option, and there's only one place, and that place can be an intimidating place, going to the Sunday school hour. And if they don't want to go to that Sunday school hour, then it's hard to give them an opportunity to really fit in. So this gives me a place for them to introduce them to people in a better setting that's probably going to be easier to include.
Well, what about ground rules? Are there any ground rules while you're in there? Or if I share something a little personal some week, am I going to have to worry that some nosy Nancy over there is going to tell the whole place about my business?
Well, I know Nancy, and I don't think she would do that to you, but I'll say this. We'll establish some ground rules, what participation looks like, what it doesn't look like, how much participation, so when Jabber and Jeff and Talk a Lot Tom shows up to the Sunday school, they don't dominate the class, that it doesn't become a personal counseling session for someone. So we'll set up some ground rules, and we'll take time to do that. We want this to be a healthy experience. Part of that ground rules will be confidentiality and maintaining that. Hopefully people are just human beings and know well enough to not go outside of the group and start gossiping about what's shared in the group. That's what we would expect from any of our Christian brothers and sisters.
Pastor, what type of studies are we going to do? What topics?
Well, it'll change because we have one person over here who wants to do nothing but the Bible. We have a person over here who wants to do nothing but practical, topical stuff, and the idea is that we can learn and grow from both ends of that. And so the way we do that is we'll study one, maybe more practical. We'll study another one that may be more in depth. But the idea is we want you to do both. Do it all. You can learn if you open yourself up to it from both experiences.
This sounds like a really big change that the church is going to go through. So how long is it going to take for us to get this kind of thing off the ground? Are we looking at 6 months, 9 months? What do you expect, Pastor?
Well, we've already put in a year and a half of fear and holding back of starting this to begin with. some members of this church, I asked if they would be part of this literally, I think a year and a half ago, and then I think by the time it came around to actually doing it, they had forgot all about it. And a lot of times we're afraid to start things new, and we're wondering what commitment is this going to take? What is it going to do to take away from me? And the only thing I can say is the time is now. We need to do something now. I mean, we can continue doing what we've been doing for the last 3 years since I've been here, and we'll continue to accomplish what we accomplished over the last 3 years. And nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad. But I think we can do more. I think we can accomplish more as a congregation. We want to start now. So January 14th, we're hoping to get together and kick this off, and hopefully everyone will be there. I hope our Sunday school attendance doubles through this.
So do we show up on January 14th, or is anything happening before that? Well,
understanding that Christmas break goes all the way up until January 7th, and January 8th is when school starts. So January 7th, we'll take with those who are in town, and we're going to have a potluck, a breakfast potluck during that Sunday school hour. And that'll give us a time to talk more about details and what's going to happen during these groups, these GUS groups.
When do we find out what group we're in?
Hopefully between now and then, assuming our leaders do what they're asked to do, you'll receive a phone call within the next week or two.
Do we have to bring anything to the potluck?
Yeah, food would be helpful.
What if I don't like someone in my group?
Well, this is part of Christian growth, I would say, that you learn how to live alongside the people that maybe you don't necessarily like or get along with. So see it as an opportunity for maturity.
What about the kids?
Kids will do what they're normally do. So they'll go to their Kingdom Quest, and they'll go to their classrooms. Their classrooms might change just a little bit, but their routine, kids as well as middle school and high school youth will go as normal.
You mentioned meeting outside of GUS groups to serve. Will the groups meet outside of their Bible study hour on Sunday mornings to do anything else?
Only if they want to. I mean, that's up to them. That's up to each individual group. I could foresee that perhaps one group might do more than another. One group might have more energy than another. You never know.
What places are we gonna do outside, like when we do outside service?
I don't know. It's a weird question. This is one of those coffee mugs that had rotten coffee in the bottom of it.
Sorry about that.
We might have to delete a lot of pictures.
That's all right.
That's awesome. Pretty full. All right, we need some good Mike Leaches.
We just need like some random, throw them in there. Let's see.
All right, here. Look, let's be honest. We have about 40 people that come to Sunday school, and we have about 200. That's not true. Look, let's be honest. We probably have about 70 people that come into Sunday school, and we have 200 going into the church services, which tells me that 130 of the people in church are not in Sunday school. And that's a problem. I think people get too used to going to Sunday school and having a fat little preacher tell them that they've done everything that they need to do just by being in church to be the good Christian that they're asked to be. And then that fat little preacher sends them home and they think, good, I've done my Christian responsibility. But let's be honest, the fat little preacher is often just going to tell you what you need to hear, which is why that's so appealing. And so what we're asking people to do is to go to Sunday school and spend a little bit of extra time learning and actually growing and diving into this faith that they call as their own.
Do you think this can get us to heaven faster?
No, that's a terrible question. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's questions like that tell me that you are not going to Sunday school and you're not learning enough. Okay, because anybody who has spent time actually studying this book, okay, would know that that's not going to get you to heaven faster.
home. It was good.
Telling them what they want to hear.
What do you think
Oh,
about fat
practice.
little girlfriends?
Talk about practice.
It's a little like breakfast. You get a ham and eggs. As coaches and players, we're like the ham. You see, the chicken's involved, but the pig's committed. We're like the pig. We're like the chicken. They're involved, but everything we have rides on this.
Oh, give me that.
Put it in the Bible and then, like-
cheesy metaphor or something like that at some point in time.
Can you see the phone?
No, I can't.
You can't see it?
No.
Okay. Look. Our Sunday school, it's a little bit like breakfast. Okay, you have the ham, you have the bacon, you have the eggs, and as a congregation, we're like the ham. See, we're committed, right? We're all in. You can't just be halfway committed. Oh.
Who was it?
I get the clue.
Okay.
Who was it?
We want people to be the
The ham. No, I get the quote. It's a great quote. Ask me a question about you really expect people to come an extra hour. Right? They're both going to go, oh.
Pastor, do you really expect people to come to church for an extra hour?
Look, church is like a little bit like eating breakfast. You have the ham and you have the eggs. They're both involved, but only the ham is truly committed, right? Only the ham had to actually give up something to be there. Okay, the chicken is involved, but the chicken can go on with life as normal. We need more members that are like him, who aren't going to be afraid to spend an extra hour in Sunday school, who aren't going to be afraid to spend an extra hour studying and learning and growing, right? We don't need chickens. We have plenty of chickens in our church. We need more hams. Let's be pigs.
That's all.
Do you wanna? Should I ask the question about heaven? Do you want to make it heaven? Why are we talking about heaven? Or what was the Herm Edwards one? Is Herm Edwards doing the playoffs? He said the playoffs. So I'm trying to think of something.
Well, there's two. There's playoffs. We're talking about playoffs, and then there's practice.
Oh,
We talk about practice.
I don't know which one was I just thinking.
Allen Iverson was a
Yeah.
practice. You out here talking about practice.
These are some good ones. The thing most people don't understand about Bob is what a great guy he is to work for. Most head coaches love to talk. It's just their nature. But with him, it's not like he's Mr. Chairman of the board or anything. He's unique because he's a listener. He's interested in what others on the staff have to offer. He taught me that. So I'll listen up to a point, but pretty soon I'll tell him to shut up because I like to talk.
That's awesome. God, he is a genius.
We could ask a question about like, yeah, but I like to be taught by the pastor.
It's like,
Oh, yes, because that's one of the
no,
questions
but
that
like,
we asked.
well, what if I don't?
That's
What
a-
if I want to be taught by the pastor, not
that's a good
a
question.
church
You
member?
ask that one.
Okay.
Pastor.
Hey, Pastor.
You've had enough questions.
Yeah. There's a lot of us that really want to be taught by the pastor, not just some average lay person.
Look, the thing that most people don't understand about pastor is that pastors are a guy who works hard, he works for us, and pastors love to talk, okay? And it's just their nature. It's part of what makes them a pastor. And, oh, man.
Should we read that one? Trying to reword it.
Yeah, it doesn't translate quite as well.
Maybe like,
Loves
well,
to
this
talk.
other pastor we have likes to talk, but
At some
I want
point,
to
someone needs to hear you guys talk and listen to you guys instead of listening to me talk or something.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Pastor.
You've asked enough questions.
Yeah, no. So we're gonna have all kinds of people teaching, but I really like to be taught by the pastor. There's a lot of other people I know. They want to be taught by the pastor.
Yeah, I hear this a lot. Let's be honest. There's a lot of teachers that were better teachers than the pastor. The thing about pastors, the pastors love to talk and they love to be heard and they love for people to listen to them. And so if you get a pastor teaching one of these classes, he's going to dominate. He's going to take over. That's not what I wanted to say, but
What about a question like, well, is there going to be like a pastor's own GUS group? Maybe. Like, is the pastor going to have his own GUS group?
what I wanted to say, and I lost it. I had it. What I wanted to say was, is this still recording, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been making sure of that.
There's more to be learned, more to learn from others as well than just listening to the pastor talk. We need to let him know that the leaders have been trained by the pastor.
Oh, that's true.
Like they're not coming up with this on their own.
No, I don't think they know.
Should I be behind the camera, like being a cameraman?
Yeah, do like the Steph Curry thing there and crash the party during the interview.
All right, you can ask the pastor. All right, you ready?
Okay.
Pastor. Hey,
Just yes.
so I like to be taught by the pastor. I know there's a lot of my friends who want to be taught by the pastor, but what you're talking about here, the pastors aren't going to be teaching all these groups.
Well, not directly, but indirectly, the pastor will be involved in what the groups all learn. Look, here's the thing. I've tried doing multiple Bible studies before during the Sunday school hour, and everybody feels like if they don't go to the class that the pastor's teaching, then the pastor won't know their attendance and won't record it. And that way, then maybe their name will be tarnished if the pastor knows that they didn't skip Sunday school that time. Look, we have lots of great leaders in this church and lots of great people who are better teachers, better communicators than the pastor. And the problem with pastors is they love to be heard, and they love to be listened to, and they love it when people are listening to them. And so therefore, they love to talk. And if you know the pastors here at this church, tangents are something that often go haywire. So this is good because it'll keep us on point. It'll give us an opportunity to learn from people other than the pastor. It'll help us to be engaged in for more reasons than just knowing that I punched my pastor punch card and marked my attendance.
What's the pastor going to be doing during this time?
Yeah, there's a couch in this room, so there's nap times. We're preaching on Sundays is tiresome, so ask it again.
What's the pastor going to be doing during the GUS hour?
Well, there's a lot of different things that can be done. One is we don't have a class out in the Sunday school hour for new members to grow in understanding what hope is all about and understanding what Lutheranism is all about. So there's an opportunity to teach that class for me. Pastor Dan's going to continue to be with the youth group and teach them and lead them. And it'll also give me an opportunity to pop my head in some of these GUS groups and substitute for when there's a leader who can't make it.
Is there a way to use that "I'm a man" quote? The Gandhi one. It's pretty
Ask. What if I don't like what if I don't like my teacher? Okay. Can I switch groups?
Hey, Pastor, I got a question for you. What if I don't like my teacher? Can I just switch groups then?
Are you serious right now? Really? Look, these teachers that you don't like, they're volunteers. They're not getting paid for this. They're doing this on their own accord. They're doing this because they care about the people that they're teaching. They care about the people that they're leading. Look, I'm a man. I'm a pastor. If you want to pick on somebody, don't pick on the volunteers. I get paid to do this. If you have a complaint, complain to me. Don't complain to the volunteers. They're just giving up their time and sacrificing for your benefit. I'm a man. Come talk to me.
I'm wondering what people are thinking, like, oh my gosh, they're getting in so much trouble. Here's one. Well, outside of Lubbock, expectations aren't very high, but it's okay. We played a lot in Lubbock this season.
Oh. Okay, as something that'll lead to that. What are your expectations for the growth of this church?
Okay. Pastor, what are your expectations for the growth of this group? Wait.
Yeah, read the quote again.
It says, well, outside of Lubbock, expectations aren't very high, but it's okay. We play in Lubbock a lot this season.
Okay.
Should just ask, like, what do other people think of what you're starting or something like that? Or
like what?
Okay, ask. Okay.
What am I asking?
What are your expectations for growth
in the church?
Or
Pastor, what are your expectations for growth in the church that this might provide?
Well, within Lutheranism, expectations isn't always very high, but look, we're Lutheran and we're not going to change that. And so, see, I don't know how to translate the quote.
Find like maybe a easy one that's easy to translate. I mean, well, what if you did, well...
Oh, here's a good one. It's kind of like doing surgery with a chainsaw instead of a scalpel. We had pieces and parts flying around everywhere. It turned out in our favor. We've just got to clean it up next time. So we could say like, I don't know, I kind of like what we're doing right now.
Doing that one. Mm-hmm.
I still can't see the...
Yeah, where's it going?
Okay. I don't know what you're going to ask.
It's the like this.
What about like, what if I don't want to join the GUS groups? Is there still going to be Sunday school or something going on?
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
Mm-hmm. Pastor, if we don't want to join a GUS group, is there still going to be a class or Sunday school going on that we can go to?
No.
That backfired.
Follow up.
Yes.
I kind of like how we did Sunday school. I could kind of show up when I wanted to or when I didn't, and nobody really missed me or knew if I was there or not. It was optional.
Look, the way we did Sunday school and the way that oftentimes churches do church, and I'm not saying this is necessarily always how Hope was, but the way we did Sunday school, it's kind of like doing surgery with a chainsaw instead of a scalpel. We had pieces and parts flying everywhere and all kinds of things going on. It turned out in our favor in the end and things were good. We just got to clean up afterwards. We just got to clean it up next time.
She's sick. She's
She's
at
at
grandma's.
I'm being
Do you have any
interviewed.
questions we should ask about GUS groups?
All right, let's do that one again.
What did I ask? Okay.
Where's the boulder?
He'll have all sorts of questions for you.
Oh, come here, David.
Doing a radio show now?
Yeah, come sit down and ask some questions.
I'll put the envelope on your desk
Okay.
for the staff.
Thank
Just
you.
ask questions about GUS groups.
Yeah.
Have a seat. Pastor.
You should say you with the question.
Oh, Pastor. I kind of like how Bible study is done right now. I could show up or not show up and nobody really cares or it doesn't make a difference.
Look, the way we do Bible study right now, it's kind of like doing surgery with a chainsaw instead of a scalpel. We have pieces and parts and all the kinds of things flying around everywhere, but it turns out in our favor in the end, and it's maybe okay. But we just got to clean it up and be a little more precise and intentional about what we're doing and what we're learning.
Very
Chainsaw analogy's great. What are GUS groups?
Hold on here. Ask
I saw your father, by the way.
I saw that.
It's a special moment for both of us.
I'm very proud.
Special.
Where'd y'all go? We're recording, by the way.
So whatever you say is
Sure.
gonna
Hope you got someone good to edit.
Yeah.
We have Katie's in there.
Hopefully.
She's an Apple person. She's not going to do that. PC stuff.
So we'll figure it out.
Have we done a what is a GUS group?
We haven't done that
Yeah,
in
okay.
a while.
I stumped the band with what is a GUS group?
right now, I'm just reading through some of these.
We're trying to do it like a
Mike
coach.
Leach. All right, go ahead. Yes, sir.
What is a GUS group?
Well, GUS stands for Grow, Unite, Serve. I mean, this is what we want to do during our Sunday school hour to help all the members of our church, not only members, but all who are part of the family that is Hope Lutheran Church, grow in their faith, unite together as a body of believers, to learn practical skills about how they can be better Christians out in the world, and to learn also what it looks like to serve as a follower of Jesus, the community, and the neighbors around them.
Pastor,
How are we
what
gonna
do
do this?
Well, we're going to take time during the Sunday school hour. Right now, we'll breaking the church up into 4 different groups. Each group will have roughly 20 to 40 people, we're hoping, and each group will have a facilitator leader that will lead that group, and that group will study together for this first time 6 months, and then after that it will be 9-month increments.
What if I want to be a part of another group and not the one I'm assigned?
You can't grow up.
Fascist.
What do we do in these GUS groups?
Well, it's a time for us to learn, and it's not just the learning, but we're gonna learn through different kinds of studies. Not always Bible studies, but it's always going to be Christian based. We're going to learn from the scriptures and from other people who have also given us the ability to learn. I don't know what I was saying there, but I was watching it. Beyond the learning, we're also going to find times to do things like service projects, get involved within the congregation, get involved within the community, help other people, and to support, encourage, and pray for one another.
So can these groups get together just for fun?
If they want to, I would love it. I think it would be great. If some of these groups formed strong enough bonds and relationships that they want to do things outside of Sunday morning, then I think that would be a fantastic thing to do.
What if we don't like?
Just spill on yourself.
Like squirted up in my eye.
I squirted.
It's like the time.
Still has a drinking
It was
problem.
like the time the
It's an
poop water
open
squirted
cup. How
in
did
my
it
eye.
squirt?
The toilet water got you there.
But how did the glass squirt?
No.
Like it just did.
Like
Being recorded?
Yeah, that's
So go back and watch the tape.
all right. I think
we're
we've
good.
got a lot. I mean, we've been in this for.
We got 36 minutes of tape right here.
Yeah.
Here, you want to watch it, David?
No.